Hey guys, welcome back. This is your first time here. Please remember to subscribe to our channel if you like what you're seeing, and of course, feel free to leave a comment. Uh, we would like to hear from you. Okay. One more time, my name is Moses. I'm with MPIT, and this is a series of a video. Uh, we're just trying to set up a cluster, prepare a local server using our laptop. Okay, that's what we're doing. And so far, we have configured a virtual machine using Hyper-V, and we've prepared our domain controller, node 1, node 2, that will be part of the AG. All right. So right now we are going to continue. So if you have not seen the first video, make sure you check it out, and then check the second video out where we prepared the DC and all the nodes. All right. So in this video, we are going to be talking about how we can partition the drives and then install SQL Server on the node, and of course, configure our availability group. Okay, let's get straight to it. So let's connect to our node 1. This is node 1. So we want to go to computer management. So let's connect to, we're already on our failover cluster manager. I need to minimize this. This is where we want to be. Okay. All right, so let's go to tools and select computer management. Computer management. There you go. Then select disk management. All right, so we have this 126 GB on the C drive on this machine. Whatever we're doing here, we're going to repeat the same process on the second node as well. All right. So first thing first, we're going to shrink this. So we right click and say shrink volume. I just want to dedicate 50 gigabyte for this. Well, just say 50 MB. So let me all right, so I'm provisioning that, and I'll go ahead and shrink it. Click on shrink. All right, so as you can see, 50 gigabyte is unallocated. 50 gigabytes is unallocated. So the first thing we want to do is come here, right click on it and select new simple volume. And what are we doing here? We want to create our drive latest and then assign the size that we want for this particular drive. All right. So for each of them, I'm going to provision, say 10 GB and then leave maybe 20 GB for my 10 dB. Okay. So let's go next. Then, like I said, I want to give it 10 GB. So go next. This is where you specify your drive latest. I'm okay with the E. I'll leave it there. Leave it as E. Because we're not using mount point, so you want to leave all this, just leave it at the default. So selected E and let's go next. And this is my data file. So I will call this SQL data. Perform a quick format. Yes, that's fine. Click next and finish. I'm going to do the same thing for my log file. New simple volume. Go next. It is the same size, 10 GB. Change this to L. I have L here. I use E in the previous later because I didn't have D for data file. So I selected E. But for log file, I have L. So I select L. Go next. I'm going to call this just log. Go next. Finish. If you notice here, the more we assign, the less it is showing up here as the unallocated storage. Okay, so I'm gonna do this again. New simple volume. I will give it same 10 gigabytes as well. And this time around, this will be for my backups. This is optional, but I just like to do it that way. So we'll go next. Call this guy backup or backups. Doesn't matter. Backup. Go next. Finish. The last one would definitely be for my 10 dB. I like it to have more, so I'm not changing it. I'll leave the 20 GB there. Go next. And I will change the drive later. Look for T for 10 dB. Go next. And type my drive, my volume label, which is 10 dB. Go next and finish. Okay, as you can see, I have my data file, my data drive, or drive for my log, my backup, and of course my 10 dB. So I'm going to repeat the same exercise on my second node. But let's check out what we have done. So if I go to my file explorer, go to this PC, you should see the drives that we have provisioned. So we see the backup here, the data file is here, the log file is here, and of course our 10 dB is here. All right, that's sweet, that looks good. All right, I'm gonna close out this guy and I'll repeat the same process on node 2. Let's flip back to node 2. All right, let's flip back to node 2. Where is node 2? Right here. Oh, we're installing something. Yep, it looks good. So get that out of the way. All right, so we're going to do the same thing. We'll go to tools, computer management, and then disk management. All right, we have the same size here. We will need to do the same step. We need to shrink the volume. So right click and say shrink volume first. That's the first thing you do. I'm just gonna make sure I follow the same thing that I did before. I'm gonna use the same 50 gigabyte and shrink it. And we should see the unallocated space. All right, right here. So right click on it and let's create our new simple volume. Let's go next. And then we are going to give each of them the same, say 10 gig, just like we did before. Okay. All right. So 10 gig, go next. It's important to make sure the naming conventions are the same. The drive later for the node 1, I remember it was E, so we'll leave it there. So let's call this guy SQL data. Go next and finish. Let's do the same thing for log. 10 gig as well. Go next. Because it's log, I have L here. So select L for my drive later. And I'll call this guy log. Go next and finish. Do the same for my backup. I will assign 10 gig as well and change it to B for my backup. Go next, call this guy backup. Go next and finish. Of course, last but not the least, Right click, it's a new volume. Let's create for our temp DB. I'm not going to change anything there. I'll leave it as is, 20 gigabyte for temp DB for good performance. So let's look for T for temp DB. Let's go next. Here, I will type temp DB. Temp DB. Go next and finish. All right, everything looks good. Okay, so I'm going to close out of this, but let's check it out. Let's go to the File Explorer, go to this PC. As you can see, we have the backup, the B, the E for data file, the L for the log file, the temp DB. As you can see, the space allocated, everything looks good. All right. Okay, I'm gonna close out of that. So what we're gonna do next, we need to install SQL Server. Now DB will work. So everything that we have done up to now, most of it may not be DB will work, but remember, we're doing this hoping that you are trying to set up a private lab so you can play around. In the enterprise environment, you know that the infrastructure team, the server administrators will take care of most of this. You'll probably just add features and do some minor configuration from DBA perspective. All right, so now let's install SQL Server. What I like to do, I like to create a file share where I can name it, say, media, and of course, give that file share permission and make sure that all my nodes can access that file share. And that's what I want to do. And of course, put my installation media right there. And of course, I like to do that on my domain controller. Don't ask me why. I just like it there. Okay, so let's go to DC and then go to File Explorer, this PC, open our C drive. Let's create a new folder and let's call this guy media. Okay, let's right click, go to properties. I'm gonna make it a share, click on share again, and done. You know what? I need to give it more permission. So I just want to copy this guy. I will need it. I'll put it somewhere. Okay. All right. I just want to make sure that it has all the right permission that I need. All right. So let's click on add and just in case I want to do anything on my DC. So I'll just do Windows Server, cluster, -AG. Just want to make sure I can access this. All right, my computer is already selected. Check names. All right, looks good. I want to give it full permission to this folder. Okay, so apply. Don't okay it yet. Do the same thing. AG.1. Check names. Okay, give it full permission. Apply. Oh, did I give full permission to this guy? Yep, I did. AG.1, full permission. All right, let's do the same thing to AG.2. Check names. All right, looks good. Give it full permission to this folder and apply. And then of course, I will say, okay, then close. I already copied the path. Okay, so what we want to do next, I already downloaded my SQL Server file. So I'm going to copy that file into here. There are other ways you can do this. You can actually go on any server or VM that you want to install SQL Server and then mount a disk there, or mount a disk there, or call your installation media from that server locally. But I just want to have mine in here. Okay. All right. So let's let me get to my installation media. All right, so let me open this guy and then go to my local computer. My download folder, I already have my SQL Server. I already extracted it from where it was. Okay, so I will copy it out and move it to that location, or copy it and paste it on that location. Let's try it and see if this will be fast. Okay, it's copying. There you go. All right, that looks good. What else do I need here? For now, that's all I need here. Okay, so I'm going to just I'm going to flip back to Node 1 and install SQL Server there. All right, so let's flip to Node 1 and install our SQL Server. Okay, so let's minimize this DC and go to Node 1. Let's start with Node 1. So I'm going to try to access the file share. I already copied it. I'll just do Control V and paste it. There you go. Just double click on it. The disk image is corrupted. Oops. Let me try to mount it and see if it will let me. Okay. All right. So let's try it a different way. All right. So I moved the entire media here to this location. Let's try it here and see if it will work. Using evaluation edition of SQL Server 2019. Let's wait for it. Oops. Required file could not be downloaded. This could mean the version of the installer is no longer supported. All right, let's try it a different way then. Okay, so I deleted the other old file that I had there and then moved a different enterprise that I actually have to install, but it shouldn't have the same problem. I just brought the one I already have, so you can download a free either developer edition or enterprise edition, evaluation edition rather, and just try it. For the evaluation will be enterprise. So let's see if this works. Okay, so as it copies, and we'll just go ahead and try to do the installation again. All right, it's done copying. So just double click on this. There you go. This looks good. All right, so we're going to be installing SQL Server on both nodes. So we're starting with node 1. It's going to be very straightforward. So click on new installation. Should move pretty fast. Just basic installation is for what we're trying to do. Okay. Okay. All right. So I skip a page for security reason for my license key because I'm actually using a real enterprise key. So I pause the video and I resume on the next page. So, but that's where you select if you're using developer edition or any kind of edition, or you have to provide a key for your installation. Installation is nothing new. So the purpose of this video is not really about installation, but just to prepare the server for you to be able to configure always on. And for you to set up always on, you need to set up Windows Server Available cluster. So if you're doing that in your private lab, it will require you to having to find a way to learn that. And that's the purpose of this video. Like I said, I'm a DBA. I'm not a server infrastructure guy. So I had to find a way to do this, and I thought I should share with you guys. So let's go ahead and just hit accept and go next. Excuse me. Optional, I don't want that. I leave it as is. It's not a requirement. It's going to fail anyways because the server is not connected to the internet yet. I will hit next. What's going on? Come on. Okay, all right. We just started and jump to next page. So like I said, we just want to do basic installation. So I will select my database engine, maybe replication, and then skip all this Python, Java stuff, full text and semantic. Skip all of that. Maybe I'll select data quality services. Then I don't care about analysis services. Remember, you can always come back and add whatever you want. Data quality, data quality client, that's okay. Client tool connectivity, that's fine. And select that. Backwards compatibility, that's not necessary because I'm using my private lab. Everything is new. Okay. All right. Looks good to me. So I'll go ahead and hit next. I can leave this where they are. It's fine. Okay, so this is my default instance, but I like to give it a name. So I will force it to be a name instance. I will call this SQL AG one. Oops, SQL AG1 or AG SQL one. SQL AG1. For this instance, actually, it can be the same name. I can actually call it AG not one. No, I like it like this. Indecision, right? All right, let's go next. SQL AG1 is fine. I like it. Remember, this is a default instance. I just named it because you may encounter this where you have to give it a name even though it's a default instance. Okay, all right. This important part here that we need to pay attention to. I mean, I'm sure we already know this if you're a DBA. So I will just my SQL Server agent, I'm going to use a dedicated service account that I already have, and I will do the same thing for my SQL Server database engine. Okay, all right, so click here, browse. Uh, I will use I'll use a service account called cluster admin or service account. I actually have an account called service account. Service accounts. Let's check if I can find it. There you go. I have it. Okay. You have to provide a password. Not sure. Let's do it again. All right. I will use the same service account for my database engine. Call it service account. Check name. Like this. Provide a password. All right. I'll go ahead and hit next. I'll leave that as is. I don't want to grant performance or perform volume maintenance tax privilege to this engine because I'm not going to be doing that. Okay. So right here, I will just add current user. That's fine, and I can add maybe my cluster admin. Cluster admin. Check name right there. Add. Don't ask me why. I just like to add the right account because this is my private. At the enterprise, I wouldn't really necessarily do this, but because it's my private lab service accounts. Okay, and I want it to be mixed mode authentication, so I'm going to give it a password. Okay, all right, that looks good. Let's go to the data directory. You remember we created a partition our drives for good performance. So I'm going to navigate to those drives. Okay, so for my data root directory, I can leave it at the default C drive. That's okay. But for my user database directory, I'm going to have to navigate to the location of my data file. So see SQL data, I'm gonna open it. I like to create a folder in it, and I will call that folder SQL data. Okay, and hit OK. For my log, it's not gonna be SQL data. It's gonna be a different drive because I have a different drive for my log. So I'll create a new folder, call it log. Okay. For my backup file, I believe I have something for my backup right here. For the folder as well, call it backup. Backup. Hit OK. All right, that looks good. I'm gonna move to my 10 DB. So at this point, I can actually, add secondary data files to my 10 DB at this point, right? But first of all, let's navigate to the directory where we want our 10 DB files to be stored. Okay, I don't like it to be here, so I will want to remove this. Click on add, and I will navigate to my 10 DB. The same thing, I'm going to create a folder inside of it, and I will call that folder 10 DB. Okay. All right. I can use actually, I'm using the same folder, the same drive for my log, 10 DB log directory. Okay. At this point, if I want to add multiple data files, at this point, I can actually do that. And I have to come here and specify the numbers of files that I need. I think by default, it should not be more than 4 cores. So I will say 4 data files, and I will leave the rest at the default. That's okay. All right. I'm not gonna mess around with max dope. That's topic for another day. I would leave it at the default. I can do the configuration later. But for memory, this is really new for SQL 2019. If you're installing old SQL Server, you may not see all these options. All right, so I'm gonna use the recommended option where my minimum server is this, but if I want to change it, I can actually configure my minimum server to whatever I want. But for now, and of course, I can also set the maximum server. I'm going to take care of that later, okay? File stream, I'm not going to enable file stream. Okay, so the reason why I'm having this little error you're seeing is because after you select the recommended option, you need to click here to accept the recommended memory configurations for the SQL Server. All right, so I'm accepting that, so that is already checked. I'm gonna go next. Everything looks good, so I'm gonna install my SQL Server on my first node. So let's hit the install button and it will start to install. Okay, so the same thing that we've done here, I'm just gonna quickly do the same on my node 2. So I'll minimize this and I will go to my second node. You know what? I need that directory. Okay, all right, I'll get it from here. So let's flip back to node number 2. Minimize. Let's prepare our node 2 and install SQL on it. All right, to do that, it's pretty much the same thing. Okay, I think I'm back. Sorry about that. Okay, all right, so that should be the file, but just want to double check that I have access to this drive. Actually, this is the same file, so from here I can just set up config. It's still loading. I want to be sure. Let's try that again. Access it right here. All right, double click on it. There you go. That's what we want to see. All right, let's wait for it to load. All right, that happened so quick. All right, so now we are actually installing standalone. So we have to select the standalone. When we are doing a failover cluster, that will be a different kind of installation. It will be the one that says new SQL Server failover cluster installation. We're going to do that maybe in a future video. So hit the standalone installation. Just give it some time to load.